Uh-oh, maybe. Okay, can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, good evening, Christine. Good evening, Tasha. How are you both doing?
good, good.
Good. Okay, let me. I'm trying to get my headphones to link. Let's see if they'll try now. One moment. Okay, can somebody let me know if you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can.
Perfect.
Okay. Perfect. I was gonna say they were not trying to link for a while. Perfect. We have about one more minute. How is your evening going, both of you?
All
It's
is
going well.
well.
Okay, good. I'm excited about tonight and the chapters that we're covering. Before I get into my spiel, have you both been able to read chapters 4 through 7? And if so, do you have any questions on a particular chapter that you want to focus on, or just go over all of them in general?
I would suggest going over all of them in general, but I didn't, unfortunately, I didn't read it. I think I
Okay.
bought the book a while back when it first came out,
Mm-hmm.
but I figured let me just go ahead and jump on just
Just to
because
hear, mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm working on, debt reduction, but it
Okay.
keeps increasing.
The first chapter that we're going over tonight is about debt, so that'll be perfect. And then also, I can send you a link, or actually drop a link to the replay for last session. We went over chapters 1 through 3 that talked about financial wholeness. Then chapter 2 was about budgeting, and chapter 3 was about saving. And then chapter 4, which we start tonight, is about budgeting, so or debt repayment. So that'd be really awesome.
Yeah, because I
Did you
don't
get
even
it?
know if she does velocity banking or anything like that.
She does not. She does not. But velocity banking I'm absolutely familiar with. And actually there's a YouTube channel that I highly recommend for velocity banking.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my girl,
Yes.
Miss Chris,
That's my
Miss
girl too.
Christie.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. I really like her YouTube channel.
yeah. I did one of her. I think it was April. Was it April? I don't even remember. But I did
Mhm.
one of her 3 day what you call it, where she brought on some people and
Mm. Almost like
stuff.
a
It was nice.
conference or a workshop.
Yeah, like a online workshop. Yeah, pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, she's very
She has
knowledgeable. I
another
really
one
like her.
actually.
Coming up.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Hi, Victoria. Good evening.
Hello.
We're just kind of chatting, talking. Um, we're going to jump into section 2 of Getting Good with Money. The first 3 chapters, like I just stated, was chapters 1 through 3, talking about financial wholeness. And let's see, do I got a slide that matches what I'm saying? Talking about financial wholeness. And um, chapter 2, we talked about budget building. And chapter 3, we talked about saving like a squirrel or building our savings account, not just for emergency funds, but things that we know is coming up in the future, right? So if we want to put aside money for back to school for every August, if we want to put money aside for a vacation, put money aside for car repairs in the future. If we have a house emergency fund to where when things start wearing and tearing, we have money to replace it, right? So we kind of talked about that. Session 2 tonight, we're going to be talking about chapters 4 through 7. And chapter 4, we'll be talking about digging yourself out of debt. Chapter 5, we're going to be talking about credit scores. Chapter 6, we're going to learn about earning more. Chapter 7 is about investing like an insider. All right. And then session number 3, which we'll do next Tuesday, we will do get good with insurance, increasing our net worth, talking about financial professionals, and then we're going to talk about estate planning. All right.
Hmm.
And so tonight, this is what we'll be talking about. And remember, this is not a substitute for reading the book. You know, we only have an hour together, hour and a half max. If we want to stay on a little longer, that's fine with me. Um, so we can't get through all the content of the book. And there's a lot of great stories and examples and just information that we kind of breeze past from the book. So remember to continue to read your book even though we do talk about some good topics on the live, you know. So, and remember the breakdown of the chapters in order for them to be more digestible, she breaks it down into the plan, the do, and the review, right? She is a financial educator. She was a teacher, actually. And so she always likes to overview the chapter in the beginning, write some action steps, and then review what we've read. Okay. So each section, just take a little bit at a time, or each chapter, take it a little bit at a time, take each section at a time, go slow through the book. This is not a type of book you just cuddle up and read in an hour or in a day, right? Sometimes it takes us a little while to digest all the information. All right. So, chapter number 4, we're going to jump into digging out of debt to identify the best plan to pay down your debt, then automate the process. Okay. And it's between the pages of 88 through 112. And so the do of this chapter, or the action steps that you need to take, is to identify your types of debt, right? You do have the financial planner that came with this program for free if you live in Canton, Ottawa, or Muskegon counties, right? And so you can write it in the front of there. You have a place where you can write down your debts, or you can get a good old fashioned notebook, right? Where you write those things out. And at first, just write them all out, gather where you owe everything at, and just collect it all into one notebook, right? And then you want to restructure your debt, choose a pay down plan, and automate the pay down plan, right? So on step number 2, I want to kind of look at that because that is very important in my opinion when you think about restructuring your debt. And the importance of doing that, and I work with my clients in doing this all the time, is if there is an opportunity for you to pay less on your journey to becoming debt freedom, that opportunity should, be taken advantage of. For example, if you have a credit card and your credit card is at 30% interest and you have a decent credit score, you can apply for a different new credit card that has a 0% interest on any balance transfers for 12 months or 24 months, right? So what that is doing is you're transferring, let's say it's $10,000 in credit card debt from credit card A, right? The one you currently have. You can transfer that $10,000 balance to a new credit card. And with the new credit card, you do not pay any interest for a certain amount of months. Sometimes it's 12 months, sometimes it's 18, sometimes 24, depending on the promotion of the card, right? And then that way, the card number A that has a 30% interest rate, you have a zero balance on it, right? So you can kind of restructure the debt. Or there's another pathway, for example, using the same credit card, 30% interest. Wow, that's high in interest. But if you have a decent enough credit score, you can go to your bank or credit union and ask for a personal loan of $10,000. And then you'll be able to use that $10,000 and you only pay, let's say, 9% interest or 12% simple interest versus the type of interest that is on a credit card, right? So then you transfer that money over, or well, actually, you'll get the balance from the personal loan, the $10,000. You take that money, pay off the credit card. Now the credit card is at 0%, and then you start to pay back that personal loan at 9% interest, simple interest. Give me a 1 in the comments if that makes sense. So, like I said, it's basically restructuring your debt so you can minimize interest payments or reduce them significantly as you're on your journey to paying off debt. Oftentimes, people do this with credit cards because unfortunately, the credit card interest rates are just astronomical, and I don't even understand why. It's funny, my friend and I were talking today, and she works in banking. She works for Fifth Third Bank. And she was just saying she's seeing people, even with great credit, getting interest rates in the 20s, like 20%, 22%, 24% interest on credit cards, even with quote unquote good credit. And so in chapter 5, we're going to be talking about credit because, in my opinion, it is so backwards and counterintuitive. And we'll talk about that. I'll give my spiel when we get to that section, okay? But I do want you to look over on page 97 about restructuring your debt because she gives a lot of different ideas about either transferring your balances, negotiating a lower interest rate, getting a personal loan, um, instead of like, getting a personal loan in order to pay off something that's higher interest rate, just different things that you can do, right? Any questions with the idea of restructuring debt? And remember, you can come off the mic or you can drop it in the chat box. I have my chat box open on my screen at all times. You can't see it, but I can see it to where I can see the responses. So if you want to just chat with me through the chat box, or if you want to come off mute, each one is fine.
No
No
questions
question.
right now.
All right. Sounds good. Now let's talk about pay down plans. Is anyone familiar or heard of, the debt snowball or the debt avalanche or, the combination of both? Has anybody heard of those terms before?
I have.
Yes. Yep. Dave Ramsey.
Yep, Dave Ramsey. He's definitely a proponent of the debt snowball. He didn't create the debt snowball idea, but he definitely thinks that is the best way to go for most Americans, right? And there's also always an asterisk by it. And even he says it in his content for the majority of people. He said, hey, try the debt snowball method. But there are times where the avalanche method is more more advantageous. And also, it also depends on your goals, which one you do, right? So the debt snowball is when you list your debts from smallest balance, total balance to the largest, and you pay them off one by one in order from the smallest balance to the largest, right? Now, with the debt snowball over time, you will start to free up money in your debt because you have less minimum payments because you're paying all the smaller debts first. Because remember, every one of the debts that you have listed, typically you have like a minimum payment that you pay every month, right? On your credit cards, it's like $20 on that card. You got to pay 120 for that card. You got to pay something on your car note. Your car note is due every month, or there's a minimum payment due for your personal loan, like all those different, minimum payments. He's saying, regardless of what it is, outside of the IRS, he always says pay the IRS first, but everything else, pay it from smallest to largest. And then you'll start to develop a payment that you're able to chunk at debt. The payment that you're able to, accumulate every month gets bigger because you have less minimum payments because you have less debt lines of debt. Does that make sense? You see how, like, if you had, wrote down in your notebook that you have 5 debts. Well, as you start paying off the little ones, you don't have those minimum payments on the smaller debts anymore. And so that money that you were putting on the minimum payment plus the money you were paying those extra on the smaller debts, now you have that money to start accumulating, getting bigger and bigger. So by the time you get to the bigger debts, you have more money each month to throw at the debt, right? At the beginning, you're paying off small debts, but you might only have a small amount of extra income after you pay your bills and stuff to go towards it. But as you work towards those bigger debts, you have a bigger amount of money freed up in your budget to pay it down faster. So that's why most people say, debt snowball is a great option. And you feel like you got quick wins. For me, I love highlighting, right? Every time I do a task on my to-do list, I get my highlighter out. Like, it just motivates and satisfies me to be able to check something off. With the debt snowball, you're able to get those wins faster because you're not starting with the biggest debt first, right? The biggest debt takes the longest to pay down. And so if you get those smaller ones, you feel like you're moving the needle and it just motivates you to keep going. Now, with the debt avalanche, however, you're going to list your debts from the largest interest rate to the smallest, regardless of the minimum payment. Okay. The smallest interest rate, I'm sorry, the largest interest rate to smaller. And the goal is to pay down for the debt avalanche. Let me let somebody else in. For the debt avalanche, the goal is to pay down the debt with the biggest interest rate because the goal of the debt avalanche is to incur the least amount of interest on your path to financial freedom, right? So if you have three credit cards, for example, and one is at $10,000 maxed out at 29%. One is $10,000 maxed out and you have a 15% interest rate on it. And then another one, you have a 0% interest rate on it and it's $12,000. The debt avalanche says pay down the one to zero that has a 29% interest and pay the minimum payments on the other ones until you get to that debt. So you pay off the first one and then go to the next one, right? So that over time helps you pay down your debt with the least amount of interest being incurred, which is advantageous too. Now, remember, sometimes when you list your debt from largest interest rate to smallest, you might be working with a bigger balance on that card, and then it'll take you longer to pay it down. But if you're more motivated by the least amount of money I pay out of pocket, the better, that's a good way, right? Or you can do a combination of both, right? You could do a combination where when it comes to, let's say if you have an auto loan, you have three credit cards, you have a student loan, or you have a mortgage, right? You can list those for the majority, smallest to largest. But then when you're talking about your three credit cards, in that, like you can list everything from smallest to largest except your three credit cards. You can put it in the order of highest interest rate to lowest, right? You can do a combination of both. You can do your financial plan however you want because it's up to you, right? Even if you get to a certain point and you want to restructure, I've seen it to where some people, including myself, I wanted to, when I was in debt, I wanted to get all those little small things off my list, right? And then once I did that, I started looking at the interest rate when I started looking at the bigger debt. Okay, which one has the bigger interest rate? I'm gonna tackle that first. So I pay less over time. So I kind of did both. I got the motivation to start paying off debt in the beginning by getting those quick wins, by paying off debts from smallest to largest. But then eventually I switched over to the debt avalanche where I'm saying, okay, if I'm looking at three credit cards, I'm gonna pay off the one with the highest interest rate first. Does that make sense? Give me a yes in the comments if it makes sense. Give me a no if, or come off mute if you have any questions.
Yes, it does make sense. It seems like the combination makes more sense,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Mine too. Yep. And remember, even when you're listening to financial gurus, listening to me, you listen to Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, if you're watching a Velocity Banking channel, anywhere, you can take everything with a grain of salt and cater it to you, right? Even when you're reading this book, I want you to think of you in mind and how you are, what your temperament is, what your tendencies and habits are, and you tweak it a bit, right? Just like in section 5, because we're gonna move over to section 5 so we can give everybody a little bit of love as far as each chapter. When we talk about credit, right? And thinking about your temperament in mind. My temperament, I do not like carrying a lot of debt. I do not like carrying a lot of debt. I was debt free and then got sick a couple of years ago and used my credit cards. And now I have a balance. And now, oh my goodness, I forgot about this, but I used to didn't have a car payment. I paid off my car in 2012 and I didn't have a car payment and drove that same car since 2012 all the way until last year, 2024, and my car was on its last leg. And so I used my high credit score and got another car payment. And the goal is to pay it down very fast, just like I did it before, right? Pay it down within a year. So for me, I'm I don't mind utilizing debt when I don't have the cash. However, I don't like holding it for long periods of time. All three of my credit cards have 3% interest, and that's it. In a world of 30% is 3%. My auto loan, I got a really good deal. My goal is to pay everything back down because life happened, right? And so I don't mind using credit, using debt, as long as I have a game plan with it, right? Some people, like my mom, oh my goodness, she used credit card for everything, and she's really good at paying it off, but she uses credit for everything, and she's not very credit averse, because she manages it well. And so I bring this up during this chapter because when you think about your credit score, remember your credit is how well you manage debt that you borrowed, money that you borrowed. It is not a full picture of your financial health. Okay. Your credit score does not account for how well you save money in the bank, how prepared you are for a financial emergency by having a fully funded emergency fund, how well you budget every month, if you are paying down debt fast or slow. Your credit score does not account for any of that. And oftentimes I see people just focusing on high credit score, high credit score, high credit score. Another thing to remember, you only need a credit score if your goal is to borrow in the future. If your goal is not to borrow in the future, your main priority should be what we've went over so far is creating a monthly budget and learning how to manage your money well on a monthly basis, building some savings accounts, including your emergency fund, putting money aside for car repairs. If you own a home, putting money aside for future home repairs, right? Because things are going to break down, things wear and tear. I can guarantee you, furnaces is going to need to be replaced, water heater is going to need to replace. Oh, there could be a flood and you need new tiles, right? You got to replace the sub pump or get it fixed. The AC always going to be acting up somehow, some way. All these different things are going to happen, right? Why aren't we setting aside money for it? We're so focusing on credit, 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 but we're not focusing on the bigger things, which is reducing our debt, increasing our income, which is in chapter 6, increasing your income, reducing your debt, learning how to manage money well, and putting money to the side for things we know are going to happen so it does not hinder us in the future when it comes to budgeting, right? Your credit score is important, but only if you plan on buying something, borrowing money. Oftentimes, sometimes, your insurance policies may look at your credit score and give you a little discount here and there. But typically speaking, you can get insurance policies on stuff with a less than perfect credit score. Okay. So as we go through and as you read through chapter 5 about credit, I want you to take it with a grain of salt. Your credit score is not your end all be all. The point of credit in the first place in America, because most countries don't have a credit system like America does, but America is very business based, very business transactional, individualistic based. So that is what credit was originally made for business people to get money, to get items, to get resources, and with the IOU essentially. It's like an IOU. Hey, if you give me a certain amount of money, I'm going to take this money and make more money on it and then pay you your money back, and then I'm ahead financially, right? It was never intended until things started getting predatory. Credit cards, payday loans, student loans, all that started to become predatory and took away from the idea of what it was used for, which was business. Once it became personal, things got a little predatory. Once people were saying, "Hey, I can loan a person who is emotionally distraught because they don't know where they're going to get their next meal from. I can loan them a dollar and charge them 30 cents plus that dollar back to pay me back. And then I compound that interest every month if they don't pay me." Right? That's basically what is happening. Yeah, yeah, I'll loan you money, but I want my 30%. I want 30% of that on top of the money that I loaned you. And then if you don't pay me back, that $1.30 is going to be charged at 30% on top of that. So it's just going to keep compounding to where you're in over your head and you feel like you want to stick your head in the sand, right? So when I say listen to people, read these books with a grain of salt, I mean, think about credit not as the end all be all. It is not the end all be all, right? It goes up and down, it fluctuates, life happens. I was talking about in the last round I did when we were talking about how there's nothing new under the sun, the Bible says, and also there's a time for everything. The Bible says a time for feast and a time for famine. Finances are the same way. The economy is the same way. Your credit score is the same way. Your checking account balance is the same way. Give me a one in the comments if you've seen your account balance go up and go down, go up and go down, right? It's not just you, it's everybody. It's not just you. Right now, the economy is tight. Everybody is feeling the pinch. Everybody is complaining about groceries. My husband and I make good money and we are complaining about groceries. We are complaining about bills. It's not just you. We all feeling the pinch. And then there's going to be a time where things are going to be in surplus. And if we go back to chapter two, no, three, saving like a squirrel, with the analogy of the squirrel, and for those of you who weren't here last week, in chapter two, or sorry, chapter three, I want you to go back and read it. It talks about saving like a squirrel. It talks about how when in the summertime, when the acorn and the nuts and food is in abundance, the squirrels eat then, but they also save for the winter because they know the winter is coming. And we all know when winter's coming, there's no nuts being produced by the trees. You know, everything is covered in snow, whatever else. So they take all summer when things are in surplus, when life is good, when things are in abundance to save for what they say, a rainy day, or save for the snow days, save for the winter. And we have to do the same, right? We have to put aside money for the days when things are tough, when a job is lost, right? When a paycheck is cut, when a kid needs a root canal, when the kid grows out of their clothes all of a sudden and needs a whole new wardrobe, when the sub pump goes out, right? When the tires need a new car, when the rotors go off on the car, all these different things, which has nothing to do with your credit score, by the way. Okay. And I just have to keep reiterating that because so many times I see clients just worried about their credit score, credit score, credit score. And I'm like, no, you need to be worried about that checking account balance, that savings account balance, paying down that debt and increasing that income. The credit will fall where it needs to. Look at the screen. If you can look at the screen, the top two things that really affects your credit score is your payment history and the reducing of your credit utilization, meaning using less than what is being loaned to you. If you focus on increasing your income, decreasing your expenses each month, using that extra money to pay down debt and also to build savings, your payment history will be on time because you're budgeting every month. You know where every dollar is going and you're allocating money to at least the minimum payment. You're not getting any more late payments on your credit cards and on the stuff that's being loaned to you. You're not getting any late payments. That's already 35% of your credit, right? And then you reduce the credit utilization, meaning you're paying down your debts every month, using your extra disposable income to pay down debt every month. Your credit score is going up every month, even without you noticing. Every time I pay down my credit card that I have right now, even if it's at 3% and they're not high credit limits, you every month I get an email. Your credit score is going up. Your credit score is going up. Am I looking at it? Nope. Do I care what the number is? No, I don't. Because I have no desire to borrow anything in the near future. I already got a car that I need. Guess what? I got that car last year, July of last year. So it was in 2024. But the year of the car is 2021. I don't need a car no time soon. I don't care about no another car no time soon. I have my emergency fund, so if something happens to my car, I can get it fixed. Okay. I don't need to worry about my credit score. There's nothing else I need right now. My goal is to pay down those credit cards, pay off my car, and move forward. Period. My self-worth is not wrapped up in the number. I'm not, oh my gosh, it went down. Oh my gosh, it went up. Oh my gosh, it went down. I could care less. I can care less. Any questions, comments, thoughts on that?
That's a good attitude to have, especially when
Mm,
you know you can pay down your debt. So,
yep.
you know,
And I wasn't
the
always
strategy.
there. When I was in 2012 to 2024, 2012 to 2014, that's when I started paying down the debts that I had back when I was a single mom, right? It was a slow walk. Oh my goodness, it was slow because, well, at that time, my rent was only $750. But then again, I didn't make as much either. And I had to get a side hustle, which we're going to talk about in chapter 6. I had to basically get another stream of income because at the time, my 9 to 5, I was a nurse technician. And I was also in college. So when I incurred all the debt, it was between 18 and 22, 23. Um, because I was in college. Half the time, the first half, I was incurring debt because I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know anything about how to use a credit card. I just knew to spend. Every time I got paid, I was that girl. Every time I got paid, and we used to get paid on a Friday. And at that time, we did get direct deposits, and it was in our account on Friday. My account would be dang near about $80, from 1,000 to about $80 in 2 days. I was going straight to that mall. I was going to get something to eat. I wasn't really taught finances. I was the youngest of six. I was spoiled. I could just call whoever and get money. I didn't know how to manage money. So when I became a single mom in the middle of college, life got real, real fast. And I had to learn how to manage money. And so I kind of learned from all the different people at the time, Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, things like that. I also took and end up getting a minor in finance. And I didn't even realize how much I love finance. I knew I love math, and I was a biology major. I love science and math, so I was good at math. Um, and when you go to college for finance, you don't learn about how to manage your money. They teach you stuff like the stock market, appreciation and depreciation, they teach you supply and demand. This is not economics. They don't teach you how to get out of debt, how to do a monthly budget, how to write a checkbook, all that different stuff. They don't teach you that. And I thought they did, and they never did. But I kind of had to self study and learn how to do all this. And so I created and learned about finances 2 years before I was able actually to create a financial plan and execute it. Right? It was 2 years later because when I started learning that stuff, it was like 2009, my daughter was born. So especially in 2010, 2011, I was really learning about finances and really understanding things that was never taught to me. I wasn't able to execute the plan that I put in place until 2012 when I had the capacity because I graduated from college and I no longer was full time and I could change my job, and also I had a side hustle that I could do with my daughter with me because I was a single mom. And that is when I was able to start paying off debt more and more a month. I needed more than one income. Needed more than one income. My first job paid majority of my bills and groceries and everything else. And my second income is that money I use to really pay down debt fast, right? And so the do in chapter 6 is talking about that. Maximize your earning potential at work, whether it's renegotiating, whether it's moving to a different department because your current department don't got the funding to give you a raise, right? Assess your skills, see if the skills that you're learning at work or you learned at your previous job or you went to college for, you can monetize on the side, right? If you work at a bakery, for me, I think this is a no-brainer. If I worked at the Meyer Bakery, and Meyer Bakery probably don't get paid a ton. But do you know I would be at home making my own cakes and pies and selling them on the side when I don't work, and I can just be at home chilling, making cakes and pies, using the exact same skills from work to make money on the side, right? Like, do you know how much of how easy that would be? You could literally have Meyer Bakery train you on how to make cakes and pies and then go do it somewhere else, right? Sometimes we don't think about that. We don't think about what are our transferable skills that we can get a second job, get a new position, or do business on our own, right? Any thoughts on that? This is a big part because remember, the more money you have coming in, the more okay, the more money you have coming in, and this is how I was able to pay off that money before. And if I did it before, I can do it again, right? So my goal is even now, increase my income, decrease my expenses, put any extra cash on debt. So whenever every month I look at my budget, I'm like, okay, can I pare down anywhere else? Nope. Okay. And I increase my income. I do not start shopping more. My kids still beg me for money and I still say no. I don't care how much money I earn. My goal is to be debt free again, right? And so when you know your goal is to be, whether it's for you, is building up savings, whether it's paying down debt, whether you want to get more money in investments, whether you want to build your retirement account, I don't care what it is. Increase your income, decrease your monthly expenses, put that extra income towards that financial goal, and you will execute it faster than you ever thought you could. All right, I'm serious this time. Any comments, questions, or thoughts? I know I'll just be talking. Go ahead if anybody wants to talk.
I think your plan was great. I mean, the increase the income, decrease expenses and put the extra cash on debt. That's a great goal. Because even for me, I'm struggling with putting my 18-year-old on our insurance, and because of
Mm.
accidents I had, our insurance is stupid.
Mm.
And how to pay for that? That's a whole nother ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have high points, and which is what I have. And so getting that, I actually just went back to my W-2 job because I'm a 1099. I do all sorts of
Okay.
delivery driving like
Mm-hmm.
Amazon and DoorDash and all that. And so yeah, it's definitely that plan. It's just I don't know if the word is discipline or just having making sure I have a plan in place, a strategy in place to follow through on the goal of paying down debt or being debt free. And
Yeah.
that's one of the
And
things I'm working on.
so through this program, if you reside, do you reside in Kent, Ottawa, or Muskegon County?
No, I'm in Maryland.
You're in Maryland. Okay. I was
Yeah,
gonna
because I
say,
do want to get that. I do want to get that booklet that you
yeah.
have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, I do one-on-one coaching. Um, if you resided in the areas that I'm located in, A Thousand Families of Color is local nonprofit. They cover majority of it. So for 3 sessions is $250. And A Thousand Families of Color. So Maria, are you local to Michigan?
Yes, I am, and I actually just picked up the booklet and the
Okay.
planner today. So
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. So if you are in the Kent, Ottawa, or Muskegon counties, to get 3 sessions is $250, but A Thousand Families of Color, the same people, Maria, who are gifting the books and the planners to everyone, they're covering $225 of that price, and you only have to pay $25. Okay. Now, Christine, reach out to me. You have my email because you got my emails for this, right?
Yeah, I think so. But
Yep.
I got a whole bunch from that other thing. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reach out to me and then we'll work something out to see maybe yeah, we'll just work something out. You can reach out to me because I would love. So what I do is I get on Zoom. So, even if you're local, we're on Zoom and it's a recorded video to where you have access to watch it over again. And literally what I do is I help you input your budget in this spreadsheet, this digital spreadsheet that I created so you can see what your current income is, your current expenses, and any money left over that you have to go towards a financial goal, right? So if that money amount is negative, meaning you have more expenses than income, we create a plan on how to minimize your expenses and increase your income. If that amount is positive, we still do the same. We still want to decrease those expenses as much as possible and see areas of like overspending or can you get this or can we minimize that? We kind of talk through those things, talk about income increasing opportunities, but then create a plan for that extra money to go again, whether it's building savings, whether it's paying down debt or a little bit of both. Like I get on the call and help you walk through that. I've been doing this for the past 10 years. So definitely know what I'm
And
doing.
I've been
And
following you that long.
really,
Yeah,
wow.
I probably have some of your product already.
Yay, good to know. So yes, Christine, I will, yeah, email me, or y'all can text me, whichever one works easier for you. And I'm gonna put my number in the chat, especially you, Maria, because you only have to pay $25 for this service.
I was not aware that that service was available. I will
Yeah,
definitely be signing up.
yep. So I just sent my text message, my text number, and or you can call me, but it's like easier to text me, or you can email me. And let me know that you're interested, and we can get you on the books to start building that for you. Because yeah, the financial plan is a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. And for oftentimes that's what we need in order to kind of jumpstart ourselves on our financial journey, is a solid financial plan that works, that you know is not gonna fall apart, right? Any questions, thoughts, comments from anybody else?
No, I'm just waiting for you and I to connect.
I know I sent you, Tasha, I sent you the link to my calendar for you to choose your day. Did you
Okay,
get that?
I don't think that I have it. I just have a bunch of schedule, but no, I didn't get that. Let me just say that. But I'll go
Okay.
back and double check just to make
I'm
sure.
gonna resend it just to see if it goes through. Did you get that text by chance?
You sent a text, not an email.
Yes, it's a
Okay,
text. Yep.
hold on 1 second. And don't let me hold up your class.
Oh,
Go
you're
ahead.
fine. You're fine. We just got one more chapter. So I just want to make sure everybody is good.
No, ma'am, I did not get that.
I'm gonna send it to you. And then I will, that's so weird.
You have to confirm the numbers or the email.
I know she, because you got my past text. Hmm.
Absolutely. So I just
I'm
have,
gonna
yeah,
send you the link right now. Just want to make sure. I'm just gonna send you the text that I sent, so it's not gonna be like super formal. Okay, I just emailed it to me. Let me know if you got it. And then Maria, I got yours and sent that back to you. And
Great. Thank you.
you're welcome. Maria, let me know if you've received my text, because it could, I hope it's not on my end. The same things are sending.
okay, I just received that.
Perfect. Maria, did you receive a text back from me?
I did not.
What in the world? I'm gonna turn my phone off and turn it back on. And then I'm gonna check back with you, Maria, to see if you received the text. If not, I could just always send it via email.
Okay.
Yeah. So chapter 7, and if you notice in this book, it kind of goes in a sequential order in which you should start building your financial plan, right? Beginning is your budget. The budget is key because you need to know how much money you have after you pay your bills and things like that, the things that you need to pay for to live in current and present time, in order to put money to the side for savings, in order to put money towards debt, and then also in order to invest in the future, right? So the goal is increase our income, decrease our expenses, build up a savings plan, execute that, then pay off debt, and then start investing, and then start, just keep building. Because once you get into the world of investing, you're using your money to make more money, right? Through compound interest, right? And so chapter 7 talks about investing like an insider, to learn how to take care of your future self by investing consistently and automatically into a retirement account, right? So in chapter 7, and again, this is one of those chapters you're going to want to sit down and read and go through nice and slow, because each and every one of us is going to have to determine, based on our situations, how many kids we have, how much we plan to leave for the children, what type of lifestyle we want to live after we retire, all the things, right? We have to determine how much we need in order to save for retirement. And on page 175, it kind of walks you through that, right? And then step number 2, decide where to put your money. So on page 185, for example, it talks about the differences between a 401k or a 403b if you work for a nonprofit. It talks about, sorry. Yep, 401k, 403b. It talks about index funds, NASDAQ, traditional IRA. There we go. So it talks about whether to invest in a 401k / 403b, whether you should use a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, right? It talks about those different things because depending on, or SEP IRA, depending on who you are, it can vary very differently, okay? For example, for a traditional IRA, that is geared for somebody who feels like the amount of money that they have is the amount of money that you have is, I'm trying to look to make sure I'm right. Yeah. So traditional versus Roth. And I was just looking at what the author was saying about this, because her take is a little different than mine, but it's still the same idea. So when she thinks about a traditional versus a Roth, she thinks of it as, with the Roth IRA, you're paying taxes now on that money that you're investing instead of later. With the traditional IRA, you put money into the account and you pay taxes when you take it out. Okay. Now, for me, the way I look at it as, this is probably going to be the least amount of money that I'm going to earn. The way my mindset works, my goal is to continually increase my income year after year after year after year. So by the time I retire, I'm probably going to make more money a year because I've been in the industry longer. I'll have more wisdom and knowledge. I'll be helping more people. I'll have systems set up and automation and passive income, all that good stuff, right? That's my goal. So for me, a Roth IRA is best because if I start paying interest or start paying interest on the money that I invest today, I'm paying the least amount, right? Because if my goal is if I make 100,000 in 2025, my goal is by the time I retire, I'm making 800,000. These are just numbers I'm saying. So I would rather pay taxes on 100,000 than 800,000, right? That is what happens with a Roth IRA. You pay taxes on 100,000 now, your current income, your current, how much you earn, your current tax bracket right now, versus paying for the current tax bracket later. Now, the author of this book, she's saying, which is a different take, but it's true. You don't know what the tax rates are going to be in 20, 30, 40, 50, 10 years, whenever your retirement age is. So why not take advantage of the current tax rate versus later ones? Now think about this. Do you think that in the government we live under, they will decrease or increase the amount that they tax us over time as citizens? What are your thoughts? Do you think we live in a society where the government will have our best interest at heart and may decide to lower our tax bracket percentages or keep it higher?
Keep it higher, of course, because they're greedy.
Exactly. So with the Roth IRA, you're paying taxes on the money that you are going to take out in the future today, meaning you're doing today's tax rates instead of when you retire in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, depending on how old you are, right? So that's her take, which is a very good take as well. Now, with the traditional IRA, this might be more suited for a person who is at their peak, right? Who is, let's say, a school teacher who's 50 years old and they're retiring. They want to retire in 10 years and be done with it and collect money. And they feel like they're at their peak income level, or their income level might not increase dramatically to where they want to be taxed right now. They can use that money right now and then just pay on the taxes later, which is going to be very similar to right now. That's the people who choose a traditional IRA. Or let's say if you kind of late in the game and you know what, you 58 and you want to retire at 62 and you open up a retirement account. 9 times out of 10, it'll probably be a traditional one you want to open up. Again, ask for tax advice or investment advice through a reputable financial advisor. But typically, those are the differences. For most people, a Roth IRA is a better way to go. However, just like with that financial plan for paying down debt, it can vary from person to person depending on your situation. So that's why it's good to read books like these and also to talk to whoever you would invest in, because in order to get a 401k, it has to be a financial company you're using, right? Even if you have a 401k, 403b, Roth IRA, traditional IRA through your company, they're using a company in order to provide that service to you. You can call that company and say, hey, can you walk me through my best options? Here's my current financial situation. What's the best option for me for free? That is a free service to you. So if your company used Merrill Lynch, your company that you work through, you got a 401k through Charles Schwab, call them and say, hey, am I invested right? This is my situation. These are my goals. This is what I plan for retirement. What's the best situation for me? And they will walk you through it. They're trained professionals to walk you through that based on your current situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions? And remember, read this book because, again, we cannot even go over half the information. There's so much good information in this book that can apply to you on so many different examples and nuances and things like that. She did a very thorough job with this book. So I just hope that you consider reading it and not just, the sessions are good. Showing up to these are great, right? But this is a highlight compared to the good information and how in detail she goes in this book. And I am resending the text messages. I just turned my phone off and turned it back on because I'm like, I don't know why y'all not getting these text messages. So y'all let me know if y'all get them. I just resent them. So I just want to make sure my phone is working. Okay, so we went over chapters 4 through 7. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, I'm just gonna jump in.
Mhm.
It's great. It can be overwhelming, but it's great. I need to know all of this, and
Mhm.
I'm keeping it close in my pocket.
Mhm.
At the same time, I just feel like I don't know how I'm gonna do all this. But again, just the enemy just trying to step in and attack right now.
hmm
But
And that's the thing. Like I said before, listen to my story. I was a single mom in 2009, had $0 in the bank when I brought her home. I had no idea what was in store for me. All I know is I wanted to get a handle on my finances, right? And I did, slowly but surely, I did. In 2012, I was at a point where I can start paying off debt. So from 2009, halfway through 2009 and 2010 and 2011, I could not pay off debt. I was just basically getting by, had a little bit of money in savings, was able to maintain my current lifestyle because things were hard at that time. So remember, not only in 2009 did I have a baby, but does anybody know what else happened in 2008 that was affecting us in 2009?
the recession a
The
little bit.
recession. Yes. And this is what I'm saying. Like, if you are a believer, either the Bible is true or it's not. When he says there's a time for everything under the sun and a time for feast and a time for famine, it's so true, right? It's like things are gonna go up and gonna go down, and we have to be okay with that. And so there are gonna be seasons in your life where you're going to be on the bench. There's seasons in my life where I'm going to be on the bench, and there's seasons in my life where I'm going to be in the game shooting 3-pointers on the top of my game. We have to be okay with both. And when you are on the bench, you should be reading, you should be studying the game. So when you are able to get in the game, you execute. That's the name of the game. That's the
And
name of the game.
you're so right. And I think with me, and I'm learning, I'm always saying, put me in, coach, put me in, coach.
Yep.
But I have to learn to just say, you know what, it's okay to ride the bench for a minute.
Yep.
Just
And when you're riding the bench, learn.
right.
Girl, you should be reading this book front to back because guess what? It don't cost money to read this book.
Right, I
So
am.
when you have the income, when you are able to execute, girl, you got your plan and ready. There's nothing worse than a person who has a great income that uses it poorly. Nothing worse,
And
right?
see, and you're right about that. But then when you don't have any income, again, that's my issue.
hmm
I'm just in a whole different category than what a lot of people are in. But again, we'll talk about that when
And
we
we sure will, because guess what? When you have no income, there's food stamps, there's Medicaid, there's this, there's that, until to whether it pays for your basic expenses or your basic living expenses. And then whenever you earn on top of that can go towards your financial goal. Does that make sense?
it does. It does.
So we're gonna talk about it.
And I'm on
Mhm.
chapter 8 right now, in the middle of
Oh
chapter.
no.
So I'm just
Wait.
reading, taking it all in. So
Yeah. Chapter 8 is retirement. Is that the one? No, not retirement and wealth. It
health insurance,
is health
insurance.
insurance. Get good with insurance. That's a
Yeah.
good one too. I like that one. I learned a lot, even as a financial coach. I learned some different stuff from that book, from this book, that I'm like, oh, I didn't know about that, or oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's a really good book. Really, really good book.
Yeah. So I appreciate you. I just want to say I really enjoy listening to you give the highlights. I
Yay.
enjoy reading it and trying to take it all in. Sometimes I'm the type I have to read and then reread.
Mm-hmm.
I just think with me getting started is so hard for me. Like right now, I know that we're gonna meet, and my main goal now is to get all my credit cards, Lord help me,
Mm-hmm.
together and with my balance, and I'm I'm not gonna even complain, but anyway, I'm gonna get it together. And this is the point now where I'm up against the wall and I'm meeting with you, so I know I gotta get it together. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And we gonna get it all. Don't you worry. Yes, don't you worry. I am excited to meet with you and help you create a plan that gives you hope and just excitement to move forward and just build and go up from here.
I look forward to it. I do
Yay.
have to go right now, so I'm gonna let you guys continue on.
Oh, we're done. We're done. If anybody else don't have any questions, this is the last one that we were going over. And remember, we're meeting next Tuesday at 7 p.m. So it won't be on Wednesday. It'll be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will be sending out reminder emails as well Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. If y'all don't have any more questions for me, I will see each and every one of you. And if I did not receive a text message back from you, I'm just going to email. If y'all can just send me an email and then I'll email you back. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Y'all have a good night. See y'all
Thank you
next
so
week.
much.
You're welcome.
Have a
Bye
great night.
bye.
Thank you.
Good
Bye bye.
night. Bye.